Restoration to the Second Powers podcast, where we're living life with no walls. Today, you will be hearing the teachings of our spiritual guide, Regina L. Stillman. If you'd like to learn more about the fellowship, check out our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/restoration2. Also, if you'd like to make a donation, go to givelify.com and look for us at Restoration 2 or Cash App us at $R2Power. Now, everybody, throw your twos up and let's get lifted. Ho!
Well, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I want to welcome you to today's edition of Waking the Lions. This is the ministry of R2, the Second Power. Yes, R2, we are in the house on this afternoon, and it's good to see each one of you. I see you. One reason, the Bishop of Twitch is here. If you all are not following him, please, please, please give him a follow. He will bless your whole entire life. SK8843 at Sheila Miles. I see you. That's my sister right there. So much love coming to each of you. And those of you that may not be in my chat on this afternoon, but you are here. Tall Pumps, good afternoon to you, my dear, and it is so good to see you. I know the Rebel Inc. is traveling, and I want safe travels for you as you were out there on the highway. The same with BTD Mom and Main Man 68. They are on the highway traveling back to Texas from Oklahoma. So I want to bid you all Godspeed, and please be safe out there on those highways. I tell you, it's an awesome afternoon, and today, Din Darn, all the way from the UK. That's my sister from England. So much mad love coming to you. MCP812, come on in the room. Good afternoon to you. That's my sister cousin. So much love to you. Now, as we get ready to move into the flow on today, I actually may not be here for a long time. I know every time I say that, I end up going a full hour, don't I? But I just want to kind of, before I get started, I want to say you might anticipate in not many days hence, we're going to be changing our formatting a little bit. The plan is to incorporate some other elements and some other aspects other than you just coming and hearing me talk for an hour and share a thought and a concept with you. We want to, as we can work it out, we want to incorporate Church of Funk, and we'll be getting more information about that. But if it all comes together as we would like for it to do, you will have praise and worship with Church of Funk preceding the ministry time here for Waking the Lions. The timing will potentially move, so just keep your eyes and your ears open for any adjustments and any changes that come along with that, and we'll keep you posted. We still have much to work out. We've started holding and hosting meetings with different ones from the ministry in R2, and we'll be dealing with, again, building a hybrid type of format and platform that is both online and predominantly online, but also in person. For those that would like to be in person, you'll be able to do that. I know one reason I'm ready. Listen, I told Rebel, I said, all I need to do on the front end is just let you take us in with Church of Funk, and then come on in with the word, a brief word, and just let that all marinate down in your soul, in your spirit, and down in your shando. So that is all being worked out, as well as there will be those that are going to be live and in person that will be including them in the worship experience also. So stay tuned for station identification. We'll be letting you know when all of that is going to come to the fore. I look forward to it, especially after some of the experiences that I've had here. I feel like the harvest is ripe. I feel like people are ready, not only in the streets, but I feel like people are ready online as well for for us to bring a full-bodied experience. So you just hold on. Go, Ratty. Come on in here. That is my guy. Come on and relax. I'm so glad to see you here. So much mad love coming to you. So again, just giving you a heads up and a preview of a coming attraction. We'll be marrying all of that together along with some live singing, some live ministry, and in conclusion with a preached word that will hopefully give you that experience of really being in the midst of a total package. We will also have for you, we've got site leaders that are going to be available to you online, where you can have personal small subsets and groups that will be meeting and flowing and operating, putting all of that in motion. And I'm really excited about it because, listen, we're in the move to make a new thing, not the same soup warmed over, not the same candy bar, different wrapper, but the vision is to bring and birth the new into the earth realm. Now, as we go on along that line, and one reason I'm so glad that the Bishop of Twitch is here, because we are serious about beginning to develop and incorporate communities out there in the community. We're not about building another sanctuary, another building, another four walls for people to come in and sit and look at each other and make a new social club. We are really anticipating making an impact on the community and working to that end. So I'm excited about it. I hope you are too. And I heard this in my head several weeks ago. We build people for the community, and we build community for the people. Yes, we build people for the community, and we build community for the people. That's the way we're coming out the gate. That's the vision and the direction that we want to go. We want to see everybody coming together for the betterment of life in totality, not just for some, but for everybody. And we are here to build. We are here to build. So you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that phrase coming from me because that's the direction and the vision for R2 and where we're going. We build people for the community, and we build community for the people. So it's that we are birthing in this hour, in, again, that understanding that it might be righteous, but it still might be ratchet. It can be righteous and ratchet and still go forth. And nobody is excluded from this journey. And I'm going to say that again. Nobody is excluded from this journey. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. And that kind of brings me to what I want to talk about on today, because this has been a vision. Anybody that's known me from the onset of my ministry, this has been a vision that I have had from day one. It's not just a matter of we got here and then let's shift gears. This has been a vision from day one, but it has taken many twists, many turns, many opportunities to learn, many opportunities to grow some things and know some things and get some things under our belt. So with that, I want you to hear, if you will, the word that I want to talk about today is about the wait. Today, I want to talk about the wait. W-A-I-T, not W-E-I-G-H-T, but W-A-I-T, the wait. Now, that being said, as I shared, this is the vision and the direction that we're going. It's not a brand new thing, but it has been tweaked. It has been modified. It has been amended along the route as things have manifested, as awareness has grown, as consciousness has come to a different level. It's made all of those different shifts and changes. But I want to talk to you because I'm sure I'm not the only one. BTD Mom, I see you, sis. So much love coming to you. Come on. And I see you waving. Excuse me. I see you waving. So much love. Now, I want to talk about the wait. I want to talk about the wait because even as we talk about we're under an open heaven and it's happening, ing, it's happening. I also am not oblivious to the fact that some of you, like me, have been in the season of the wait. And there's something about the weight that a lot of times we don't talk about, we don't identify. It can be in the weight that people become discouraged. It can be in the weight that people quit and give up. It can be in the weight that people become very, very frustrated. It can be in the weight. And I'm aware and I'm sensitive to the fact that some of you are still in the weight. So even when you begin to hear many of the prophetic unctions and the words and all of this, that, and the other, and you're still in the weight, that in and of itself can cause you some places and spaces of feeling like, man, everybody else is getting theirs and I'm still in the weight. Everybody else is having a fulfillment of their word and I'm still in the weight. And the weight can become a WEIGHT weight. So I want to talk even from that concept of the scripture when it says, let us lay aside every weight that doth beset us. I'm not going to deal with the sin and the missing of the mark. I want to deal with the weight, WEIGHT, that doth so easily beset us. And I just want to talk about the weight, WIAIT. I want to talk about that so you can release the weight of having to wait. You understand what I'm saying? So you can release the weight, WEIGHT, of having to wait, WAIT. So I understand and I sense that there, as you see others that seem to be coming on, and come on, one reason, don't let the weight become a weight. Come on with that word. Don't let the weight become a weight. And that'll preach right there. Can we just make that the text for the day, Bishop? Don't let the weight become a weight. So listen, I understand. And I want to, as I was driving on last week, I had to go back to Kansas City once more. And again, I wasn't anticipating that particular trip. I thought I was good for another month or so before I had to make another run, but I had to go back on this past week. So as I was driving and I was just in my spirit, just musing and thinking, and I thought to myself, I looked as I was driving, I looked out over the land. I started in the rain. I went into heat, all of these different things. It's like, man, you see all of this going on, all of this happening on the terrain, all of this happening in the environment. And something became keenly, it came to my consciousness and I had a different level of awareness. And while I was driving and I was looking at all this different terrain, I was looking at all the different elements of weather, including heat, just hell degrees heat, like the devil is breathing on us. He's right here in the midst of us. That kind of heat has been on us. And you know what, as I sat and as I drove going back to Kansas City and then returning back to Texas, something became very strong as I looked out on the terrain. And you know what I thought to myself? I said, you know what, man, I said, if we stop and think while I'm driving in my car with air conditioning, if I stop and think and we recount and tell the story of the children of Israel wandering around in the wilderness for 40 years, understand they weren't living in houses. They weren't living in what we might consider the ideal temperatures and situations. If you think about the fact and the idea of the terrain and the country and the territory in which they lived. And again, not in a house, not in some kind of structure that was built from the ground up, because they were constantly moving. They were nomadic people in that time, in that season, and they were constantly from day to day to day to day moving. Now, first and foremost, the first thing that jumped up in my head was I had to go back to Kansas City because of the completion that needed to happen in my move. And I don't know about you, but if you're like me, I absolutely positively hate moving with a passion. I hate moving. And so as I thought, just from that perspective, I said, man, for 40 years, these people moved daily. For 40 years, these people moved daily. And I thought about that, and I thought about, man, it didn't matter what the weather was like, whether they were in the rain, whether they were in the sleet, whether they were in a sandstorm, whether they were in bitter cold, because believe it or not, even in the desert, it can become bitter cold. Whatever the elements were outside, they travailed and they traversed the land in those conditions for 40 years. And so as I thought about that, without a home and constantly moving, and I thought, man, and let's go back to that word that the bishop has left us on today. Don't let the weight, W-A-I-T, become a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. I thought about that thing and I said, that's something. Then not only the moving from day to day to day to day, I took that thing and I began to see, and listen, I hate moving. I began to see and I began to think about it from this perspective, beloved. I said, look, if I think about it, and I really want to come here because, listen, we can preach the children wandering in the wilderness for 40 years and we make those jokers sound so bad. Child, God had shown himself. God had done this and God had done that and God had done the other. And they kept on and then had nerve to murmur and complain in the wilderness after God had, we preach those people. We preach them for filth and send them right on and make them sound like they are just the worst thing ever. How could they, after God had done all of these other miraculous things for them, and then they get out and question, can God prepare a table for us in the presence of our enemies? Can God do it? How can they come and after all of the miracles that God did to release them out of bondage of the land of Egypt, how in the world can they question God? Oh my God. We take a text and we go to town and we whip them and beat them and baby, we do everything but think about the reality of their lives. They moved every single day. How about that? They moved every single day. Not only did they move every single day, but I want you right now where you sit, right now where you hear my voice, right now. And what's the topic for today? We're going to preach that sermon that One Reason put out there and laid out on the table for us to preach. Don't let the weight, W-A-I-T, become a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. Now, while we want to be so down on the children of Israel and how they didn't this and how they didn't that, where you are right now, I want you to subtract 40 years from your age. I'm going to stop right there because I want to give you time to do it. If y'all not shamed, put your numbers in the chat. If you're not shamed, subtract 40 years from your age. Please do it. Please do it. I got time. Subtract 40 years from your age. Okay, Dendarn, I see a 16. SK, I see a 21. Reason, I see a 4. Do y'all understand? I'm at 18 myself. So listen, I'm looking at those numbers and I want to say to you, now, think about the reality. One Reason, MCP 812 from 28, Jonna CPW from 5. I want you to think about, come on, Tall Pumps, from the age of 12. Can you imagine Go Ratty from the age of 8 wandering in the wilderness and having to move daily from the time that you were 23 years old until today? I'll wait. Let that sink in. Moving every single day. And doing that for every single day until today. You basically homeless for 40 years, Tall Pumps. for 40 years. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to call these numbers out. BTD Mom, imagine from 23 till today. Go Ratty, imagine from 8 years old till today. Tall Pumps from 12 till today. Jonna from 5. MCP from 28. One Reason from 4. SK from 21. Den Darn from 16. And for me, it's 18. Can you imagine being homeless? SK said, I'm murmuring out loud. Woo! I'm murmuring out loud, baby. I'm screaming. Some of us done turned back on our own and said, listen, y'all don't have to come with me. I'm going to find me some Egypt. You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. I'm going to find me some Egypt because I've been out here for 40 years. Am I talking to anybody? And so as we come into the reality and why spiritual thought leader are you driving this point? Because I want you to understand this was no small thing. And if you understand the times that they murmured, if you understand the times that they complained, y'all know y'all get mad if you have to eat the same meal day after day after day after day. And we can preach that teaching about manna. Oh, manna came down out of the sky. And manna meant, what is it? It was, they said, about the size of a coriander seed, and it would come down, and if you didn't get it in a certain time of day, worms would come in it, so you couldn't eat it because you had to get it fresh every single day. But listen, after you eat manna every single day, and for all the preaching against the children of Israel, we got to say, and then they had nerve to say they wanted some meat. After God done all these great things, they had nerve to say they wanted some meat. And y'all know full well, most of you all listening to me under the sound of my voice do not want to eat the same identical thing every single day and for 40 years. Y'all ain't buying what I'm selling. You've been eating this same thing for 40 years. Am I talking to anybody? Cassandra, come on in here. Am I talking to anybody? Am I making this thing plain? Because I want you to understand and I want you to relate, because so many times we preach this and we teach this without really making a connection to the text. Again, from 16, 21, 4, 28, 5, 12, 8, 23, and 18. For this many years, they wandered in the wilderness until today. Am I talking to anybody? Come on and get your extra year in there, 17. Can I just get some meat to season my manna? You know how we do it, SK. Black folk want some meat over in there. Don't just give me plain old manna. I need some fat meat. I need something in that manna to make it tasty and scrumptious. Y'all know what we would have been doing. Y'all ain't ready for me today. Oh, I'm teaching on don't let the weight, W-A-I-T, become a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. I just want to speak to and I want to applaud the children of Israel that had the fortitude to be out there from the age of me being 18 till today. I want to applaud them for still standing their ground to go over into the promised land. Am I talking to anybody? But at the end of the day, beloved, and this is the thing, and we even, you know, we get mad. We get mad at Moses because he smote the rock. God told him to speak to the rock and he smote the rock. You know, I'm sure, can you only imagine all the emotions that Moses had going on? Number one, he was tired of being in the wilderness too. Number two, he had a reputation that he had to defend because he done told these children of Israel, God's given me the word, God's given me the law, God's given me directions, and 40 years later, they're still out there wandering. Am I talking to anybody? The man was mad. He was frustrated. He was agitated. And the people wanted some meat. Am I talking to anybody? The people wanted some meat. They were tired of eating that same manna every morning. So as we give him the bad rap of smiting the rock and then being denied the opportunity to go over into the promised land, he was able to see it with his eyes, but his feet were not able to touch it. At the end of the day, we have Joshua and Caleb who saw Egypt, who saw the wilderness and saw the promised land. And I love the attitude of those young men, because listen, you remember when they said, let's go out and spy the land. Let's go out and spy the land. Look, let's see what's over there. They came back. They had all kind of grapes. They had all kind of, it's a land flowing with milk and honey. They had all kind of good reports. They had all kind of prophetic word being manifested and revealed. They were under an open heaven. They had all of that. What does it look like? Oh, man. That word that was given to me, that word that was spoken into my life, it's just awesome. But when they went to spy out the land, sadly enough, even though they talked about the land, the way that they talked about themselves in comparison to the land was the problem. We're like grasshoppers in their eyes. Oh my God, we're like grasshoppers. We're like grasshoppers. Woo! Ain't no way. It just ain't no way. I know the word that was spoken. I know I hear all of that. But at the end of the day, we've been out here 40 years, y'all, 40 years. And look. No, ain't no 40 years. But Joshua and Caleb, we're well able to take the land. So at the end of the day, after all of that wandering, after all of that and letting that whole generation die out, I want to talk about that generation dying out. I want to talk about that because really what that represents, I keep talking to you and I keep talking to you about how you see yourselves. Because this is what I want you to understand about this sojourn that we have been on. And for some of you like me, you've been in this process and you've been in this journey and you've been in what I'm calling the wait. But don't let the wait become a weight. So understanding that at the end of the day, we've been in that space. We've been in that season. We've been in that holding pattern, if you will. And sometimes we wonder why? Because everybody in that tribe, everybody in that group that could not see themselves for who they were had to expire. Anybody that still saw and came from that perspective of less than, and we can't do it, we can't obtain it, we can't achieve it, we're grasshoppers. Anybody that was still in the mirror, and the mirror was still distorted, until you could get every last one of those enemies within the camp. We're not talking about outside of the camp. If inside your camp is toe up from the floor up, if inside your camp still sees you as a grasshopper, if inside your mind, if inside your emotions, if inside your will, come on, if inside your heart, if inside your vision, if inside your perspective of yourself, if inside your self-esteem, you still see yourself less than grasshoppers, you will continue to wander in the wilderness in a solitary way until you're able to see yourself. Show them who you are, T'Challa. Am I talking to anybody? And thus the wait until those that really saw clarity of vision of, yes, we are well able to possess this land. We are well able. We are well able. Until you can see yourselves. And that's why I keep, even on yesterday, we had a beautiful session in the Institute on yesterday. Until I see me, I'm trying to bring you into a place where you can look in the mirror and see power. I'm waiting until you can look in the mirror and see anointing. I'm waiting until you can look in the mirror and see success and balance and freedom. I'm waiting until you can look in the mirror and see you for who I created you to be, says God. That's what God is speaking to you. I'm waiting until you can see yourselves for who you really are. Not the distortion of who you were out of your trauma, not the distortion of who you were out of your pain, pain, not from the distortion of who you were out of your heartbreak, not the distortion of who you were out of your disappointments, not from the distortion of who you are based on what your family said, not from the distortion of what others might have said about you that hurt you and crippled you and shut you down, not from any of those perspectives. I need you to see yourselves for who you are so that you can go over into the promised land. And so we wait. And so the journey continues. Not aimlessly, not without point, not without reason, but until you can see yourselves for who you are. Am I talking to anybody in here today? Until you can see yourself unbroken, until you can see yourselves worthy, until you can see yourselves justified. Am I talking to anybody? Until you can see yourselves glorified. I'm talking in here. Until you can see yourself for who you really are. All of that wandering in the wilderness is for nothing else but to let all of the negativity, let all of the lies, all of the deception, all of the lies, let all of that die. That is the purpose for the wait. Because listen, I've got to wait, W-A-I-T, until you can go into the land of promise, unshackled, unfettered. Come on, free, because whom the Son sets free is free indeed. You gotta go in free. 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 Free your mind, free your heart, free your emotions. Come on, free yourself from your past. Some of y'all, yes, we're healing the child, that broken, wounded child from within. We're healing. But listen, I want you to heal the child. Don't get rid of it. Because I heard it when he said, except you become as a little child, you can't enter into the kingdom. I want you to enter into the kingdom. Don't kill that wounded child. Heal it. Don't take that wounded child and cast it away. Heal it. Don't take that wounded child and make it an orphan. Heal it. Don't take that wounded child and put it in an orphanage somewhere. Don't take it someplace and put it in foster care. Heal that little child. Am I talking to anybody? Heal that little child. Because except you become as a little child. That's why so many attacks start in childhood. So many attacks start in young people. So many attacks because listen, that heart, that mind, that will, those emotions of a little child, come on, are what allow us to see the kingdom of God. And then we get hurt and bruised and we become hard. We become cold. We become unfeeling. We become uncaring. We become desensitized. But a little child feels all of that. You can say something and bruise a little child's heart so easily. And you can tell it. It's no hiding. We learn how to hide it. There's no hiding when you hurt a little child. You can read it all over their face. You can read it all in their little eyes. You can sense it all in their little spirit because a child's not trying to hide. We learn to do the hiding. Am I talking to anybody? We learn to hide that. We learn to conceal that. We learn to tuck that away so nobody can see it. We learn how to do it to keep from being hurt and wounded again. Am I talking to anybody in here? So at the end of the day, we wait. We wait, W-A-I-T. We wait. But the word says today, don't let that wait, W-A-I-T, become a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. Do you hear me? Because it's time, y'all. It's time. It's time. It's time. Am I talking to anybody? It's time. It's time to go in and possess the land. It's time. It's time to go in and build what it is that God wants. It's time that we go in and establish real ministry. It's time that we care about the people. It's time that we build the people for the community. It's time that we build community for the people. It's time, y'all. It's time. Am I talking to anybody in here? It's time. It's time. It's time for you to heal the child within. It's time for you to heal the adolescent, the young adult, the adult, wherever you got wounded, wherever you got traumatized, wherever you got devastated. It's time. It's time. Come on. And as we wait, that's why we wait. And this is what I want to say. When we see ourselves, I see me. I see me. I want you all this week, and I believe you're going to have some epiphanies. I believe you're going to have some moments where you're going to be like, I see me. I see me. All this week, I want you to just keep saying, I see me. When you're tempted, maybe in some areas, to go back and deal in away from your past, from your wounded self, but you're not wounded anymore. You hear me? He was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace is upon him, and with his stripes, by his stripes, we were healed. Past tense, W-E-R-E, we were healed. Hear me. I want you to begin to move and to function from your healed self, not your traumatized, wounded self. And as you function from your healed self, I want you to keep saying to yourself, from that healed eye, from that healed vision, from that healed understanding, from that healed heart, I see me. Thank you for those roaring biddies, SK. Come on, MCP. I see me. Some of you have spent so much of your lives seeing everybody else and having to take care of everybody else and have to be in charge of it. I see me. I see me. I see me. I see me. And when I see me, I see power. When I see me, I see anointing. When I see me, I see love. When I see me, I see a little child. I see that little child that's been missing all these years. I see that little child, and we're reunited, and it feels so good. Am I talking to anybody? I see me. And I'm not scarred. I'm not wounded. I'm not devastated. I'm not tore up from the floor up. I'm beautiful. Behold, he makes all things new. All things new. I see me. Come on, SK. I see me healed and whole. Come on here. I see me healed and whole. Come on, Dr. Dady Priest. I see me healed and whole. I see me, Go Ratty. I see me. I see me, and oh, how beautiful I am. Oh, how loving I am. Oh, how tender-hearted I am. Oh, how easily entreated I am. Oh, how healed and whole I am. Ooh, I see me, and I love her. Come on, Dr. Dady. I see her and I love her. Woo, that's what I'm talking about, y'all. I see me and I love her. I see me and I love him. And I promise you, if we will build people so that they can see me, see themselves, see the me that is me, that we can build those people for community, and we can build community for those people. But we got to see ourselves, y'all. I see me. Listen, y'all talking over here. I'm loving it. I see me healed, whole, and loved. Thank you for that, Den Darn. Because some of us see ourselves healed. Some of us see ourselves whole, but we still don't see ourselves loved. But I see me healed, whole, and loved. Am I talking to anybody in here? Today, I just wanted to come in and explain the weight, y'all. I just wanted to explain the weight. And don't let the weight become a weight. The weight, W-A-I-T, becomes a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, when we become disillusioned about why we're still waiting. Why am I still waiting? And I'm going to say this again, especially when it seems like it's happening for everybody else. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Especially when it seems like it's happening for this one. You get a house, you get a house, you get a house, and I'm still standing in line and I'm still waiting. And I'm going to take y'all back. How old were you 40 years ago? How old were you 40 years ago? 18 years old? And here I am 40 years later and I'm still waiting? That's a long time, y'all. And it's easy if you lose sight of what the wait, W-A-I-T, is about. If you lose sight of what the wait is about, it will become a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. But today I just felt in my spirit, and I'm not going to keep you a long time. I'm done. If I can speak to those that may be feeling the pressure of the weight, the W-A-I-T, and it feels like it might be transferring over into a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. I want to refocus, redirect, recalibrate your thinking. And I want to explain to you why the wait, and make sure that as we're in this wait, we're getting every single why. Just like they all died out in the wilderness, leave it out there in the wilderness. Don't take that into your promised land. You can't take that into the promised land. Let's just be real. You cannot, and you will not be allowed to take that weight into the promised land. When you go into your land of promise, everybody that saw themselves as grasshoppers in their eyes, the grasshopper complex has to go. The grasshopper complex must die. The grasshopper emotions must be obliterated. The grasshopper ideology that's still lurking somewhere in the darkest recesses of your mind that you may not be telling anybody, but God knows it's there. And he's like, come on. We just gonna wait, W-A-I-T, till you kill that last grasshopper. Because this promised land, I want you to have it with life, and life more abundantly. When you cross over into this promised land, I want you to have the fullness of joy and find that in my right hand are pleasures for everybody that's out here in this drudgery and no. He said, in his presence is fullness of joy, and in his right hand pleasures. I want y'all to have pleasures. Listen, I want y'all to enjoy the trip. You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? I want you to enjoy the trip. And what better way to enjoy it except you become as a little child? Because a little child looks at it and there's wonderment. A little child looks at it and there's awe. A little child looks at it and it doesn't have to be a rose, a dandelion, a dew. Am I talking to anybody? A little child, it doesn't have to be a rose. A dandelion will do for a little child. I want you to come in with that heart, mind, and attitude and spirit of a little child. And so I understand, I'm going to say it again and we're out. For many of us, as we're in the wait, it's that inner child, that little child is being healed, y'all. That young adult is being healed. That wounded you is being healed. And once you see yourself, I see me. I see me healed. I see me whole. I see me loved. And as Dr. Dady said, and I love her. Woo! Hey! Ooh, I feel that in my shando. And I love her. And I love him. Oh my God, today. But Bishop One Reason gave us the text for today. Don't let the weight, W-A-I-T, become a weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. It's your season. It's your time. Come on here. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And I'm going to say it again as we get out of here. The motto for R2, y'all. We build people for the community, and we build community for the people. That's what we do. We're about people's lives. We're about love. We're about everybody being healed and everybody being whole. There's greatness in you. There's greatness in you. There's greatness in you. Please, please, please copy the raid message. We're going to get up out of here. If I have, yes, I was going to say, I don't know if I have a moderator, but I just saw it. Copy that raid message. I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming in today. Ooh, I hope this blessed you as it has blessed me. I hope that it has. And listen, I'm not going to beat you down. I'm not going to beat you down like we do the children of Israel when we preach that sermon. I understand 40 years. That's a long time, beloved. 40 years. That's a long time. And listen, SK knows she took me out of here talking about, I want some meat with my manna. Y'all know some of y'all want some meat in that manna. You wasn't trying to look at them greens with no meat over in there. No, y'all want some meat in that manna. So come on, let's be gracious to others. Let's be gracious to one another. But most importantly, I want you to be gracious to yourselves, because I understand 40 years, your waiting period, it can be a challenge to you. But I also understand you can still function in the wait without allowing that wait to become a wait. I love y'all. Peace for your journey.